In the Metro strategy, we outlined the plan to provide land to sustain 280,000 jobs in Western Sydney. At the confluence of the M4 and the M7 lie employment lands central. 2,500 hectares of employment lands with a capacity of 36,000 jobs, plus another 10,000 hectares potentially available in the investigation area right next door. To that, you can add the precinct that Alan's already outlined to you in that film, Sydney's Olympic Park, Australia's premier mixed-use zone, economic, educational and residential. We made a good start with the Commonwealth Bank relocation and other developments, but that's just the entree. The government's just released a new vision for this area, the draft Sydney Olympic Plan, Master Plan 2030. A bold vision because we believe this precinct can be driven harder to become even more vibrant, a centre in its own right, not just somewhere you occasionally come to watch the Wallabies beat the All Blacks. And we don't want it half empty. We want it more vibrant, more alive. And that's why we're now projecting a daily population of 28,500 workers, 15,000 visitors, 14,000 residents, and 5,000 students. And that's why we want the private sector to pick up on our plans, because opportunities like this only come along every few decades. And what will drive this precinct's future and other parts of Western Sydney is transport. And that's why the recent budget earmarked $2.2 billion worth of investment, transport, in Western Sydney. And that's a sum that will only grow over time. In roads, that means continuing the upgrade of Camden Valley Way, Cowpasture Road and Hoxton Park Road, duplicating the M4 overpass to Mamray Road, and continuing the widening and upgrade of the Great Western Highway. It also means the commencement of the $45 million investment in 4,500 car spaces at railway stations throughout Western Sydney. And at the Mobility Forum in September, we'll also be exploring ideas like container truck curfews during peak hour to reduce congestion, especially along the M5. Now, while all this is important, what Western Sydney really needs to drive its future is the next generation of transport infrastructure investment. Metro Rail, the M4 missing link, extra capacity on the M5, and the duplication of the M5 East. And last month, my government made its official submission to Infrastructure Australia on what we think are the priority projects for Australia's largest city. The M4 extension, the M5 West, the M5 East, the North West Metro, and the Western Metro. All priority projects for this region, all priority projects for the state. We can't invest in Western Sydney without it being an investment in the future of New South Wales. I'm very pleased that Commonwealth is participating with us, for example, in feasibility studies on the M5 East, the Western Metro, and its infrastructure fund of $22 billion. It's a welcome recognition that the national government has a role to play in what are national infrastructure projects for the future of Australia's third most important economic region, Western Sydney. On rail, something that's attracted a bit of attention in the last 48 hours. I'll say this: I am proud of this government's North West Metro project, one that will go ahead, it will be built, and the naysayers will not stand in the way. Planning and design are well underway, and just last week we appointed a UK firm, Infleet Technology, as the shadow operator of the North West Metro, meaning that they will shape the planning and the delivery of that line from the beginning and from the point of view of an experienced operator. The debate in the last 24 hours has been a nonsense debate, because the state and city need more than one metro line. The report was commissioned, the government accepted part of the recommendations, and let me be very clear about what the report actually said. It didn't say, don't build metros. It did. It didn't say that metro lines weren't the future when it comes to rail. It did. Where it disagreed with what the government's decided, it came up with a hybrid metro. We believe the most direct and appropriate route, if you're living in the northwest, if you're going to live there in the next 2 decades, is a straight line into the city. And at the same time, the biggest boost to rail services on the Western Line is a Western Metro. And that's why we're working with the road government on a $45 million feasibility study. Why? Because Sydney needs a network of metro lines, not one, not two, but a network. The first two, northwest, fully funded by the government, not dependent on private sector participation, not dependent on electricity reform, the Northwestern Metro, followed by the Western Metro from Parramatta. And as I mentioned earlier, the Northwest Metro will be delivered. The other major issue that's come to light in the last 24 hours and goes back to the point I made about what Western Sydney needs, and that's the next generation of transport infrastructure, is the M4 and the M4 East. The report this morning suggested that the M4, the best fit for the M4, is in fact not to finish the missing link into the city. Well, the government hasn't finished its examination of the best options for the M4 East. But let me say this. When we settle on our final option, the option that we will not be considering is a road project that does not finish the M4 and take it into the city. And that's one of the key reasons why the government hasn't acted on the Steer report, which has received a lot of attention in the last 2 days. But somehow you finish the M4 by not actually finishing it into the city. The missing link of the M4 East, as it's called, must start with a link into the city. And from there, examining options of the port, the airport, and northern links under Victoria Road up to Wellington. They're all potential options. The starting point on any M4 consideration has to be finishing the road, filling in the missing link.